The cold was everywhere. It touched her skin like tiny knives. Cutting slowly, Gila opened her eyes, but she could not see much. Everything was white, cold, and silent. Her body was shaking, her hands frozen and blue. She tried to move, but pain shot through her legs. Her suit was torn, her helmet cracked. Her ship was gone, her people were gone. She was alone on this frozen planet. Left behind, Gila was a soldier, trained to survive many worlds, but this place was different. It was death-wrapped in ice. She remembered the mission. They came here to take energy crystals from the mountains, but the mission failed. The storm came too fast, and the ground opened. Beneath them, her team escaped in the ship, but she was not on it. She saw them leave. She screamed into her cums. "Wait, I'm here. Don't leave me." But they did not wait. They flew away like she was already dead. Sheila lay in the snow, her vision fading. She touched the small cum device in her arm. It was broken. Just like her hope, she thought of her home planet, warm suns, and blue skies. She thought of her mother's voice. Then, she recorded a message, her last words. "If anyone finds this, know that I did not fall in battle. My own people left me. I was not weak, I was just unlucky." She looked at the sky, dark and cloudy. Snowflakes fell gently, like they didn't know they were killing her. Her body grew still, the cold now inside her bones. She closed her eyes. Then, footsteps, slow, heavy, strong. She opened her eyes again, only a little. A shadow stood above her, blocking the snow. Not alien, not machine. It was something she had only seen in enemy reports. A human. He wore thick clothes, face hidden behind a clear mask. His breath fogged the glass, but his eyes were sharp. Gila's heart jumped. Fear and confusion mixing. Why was a human here? This planet was dead, empty, abandoned. He said something in English, words she didn't understand. Then he gently lifted her from the snow. Her body was light, too weak to resist. She wanted to fight, but her mind was too cold. The human carried her like she was nothing but a feather. She faded into sleep. When she woke up again, there was fire, real fire, crackling and warm. She lay inside a small cave, covered with cloth and furs. Her suit was patched, her hands wrapped. The human sat nearby, watching the fire. He turned his head when she moved. "You're awake," he said slowly, his voice deep but calm. Gila tried to sit up, but the pain was still there. She stared at him, not knowing what to say. He placed a hot drink in front of her. "Drink. It'll help," he said. She looked at the cup, then at him. Why was he helping her? Humans were known to fight back, to hate aliens like her. They had every reason to leave her just like her own kind did. But this one didn't. He saved her. Sheila took the drink with shaking hands and sipped slowly. It burned her lips, but it also brought life back to her. She watched the human in silence. He didn't speak more, didn't ask questions. He just sat there, quiet, like he was used to this. Surviving, helping, waiting. Gila looked down at her arm. Broken, cum still hidden. She needed to fix it, maybe call for help, but now she was not sure she wanted to. If her people came back, would they try to kill the human? Would they lie again? She didn't know anymore. That night, as the fire burned low, she felt warmer than she had in days, but not just because of the fire. Something about this human. His silence, his strength, his strange kindness gave her something else. Hope, then. Her eyes closed again, safe for now, but in the silence, deep in the cave, she heard something. Crunch, 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 footsteps. She sat up quickly, heart racing, but when she turned to look, the human was gone. Only the fire remained, and the sound outside was growing louder. The fire was still burning, but the human was gone. Gila sat up slowly. Her body sore but alive. The warmth around her felt like a dream. Something soft and unreal. But outside the cave, something was moving. Crunching snow, slow steps, heavy breaths. Her heart beat faster. She pulled a sharp rock from beside the fire jest. In case, then, the sound stopped. For a moment, only the fire spoke, crackling softly like it was whispering secrets. Suddenly, a shadow entered the cave. Tall and covered in snow. It was him, the human. He dropped a frozen creature on the ground, some kind of animal. Blue scales, 6 legs, long tail, Gila's eyes widened, surprised. The human removed his mask and gloves. Revealing a tired but calm face, he looked younger than she expected. Eyes filled with quiet storms, he noticed her fear and raised his hands slowly. Showing he meant no harm, no danger, he said, pointing to the animal, food. Gila watched as he skinned it with practiced hands, working silently. She realized. This was not the first time he had done this. He had survived here alone for a long time. She finally spoke, her voice still weak. You? Human. He nodded once, not looking up. Logan, he replied. My name. Gila repeated it in her mind. Logan. It sounded simple, strong. He handed her a piece of roasted meat, still hot from the fire. She stared at it, confused. You eat? He said gently, then talk. Gila took the food slowly and tasted it. It was strange, but not bad. More important, it gave her strength as the fire warmed her skin. She looked around the cave. Small tools, weapons. Pieces of tech and scrap were organized neatly. Drawings on the walls, maps, maybe memories. This was not a place of survival. It was a home, a lonely one. Logan finally sat down and looked at her. You're not like the others, he said, voice low but clear. Gila frowned. What do you mean? She asked. Others from your species, he replied. They didn't come here to mine. They came to conquer. Gila looked away, ashamed. She couldn't deny it. The mission was never just about energy. They were testing this world for takeover. Logan stood up, walked to the corner, and picked up a small metal box. He opened it and showed her something, 3 alien dog tags, covered in blood and ice. Sheila recognized the names. They were soldiers. Part of another mission, now dead. You killed them. She asked quietly. Logan's eyes hardened. No. He said, they killed each other, fighting over resources. I just buried them. He closed the box and put it away. Gila felt something heavy in her chest. Guilt, maybe, or something deeper. Why was this human helping her, when he had every reason to hate her? Logan walked back to the fire, then looked at her with tired eyes. You were left behind, weren't you? Gila didn't answer, but her silence was loud enough. I've seen it before, he continued. They leave the wounded to die. Call it strategy. She looked up at him, surprised. How do you know so much about us? Logan gave a small smile, bitter and sad. Because I used to study your kind. Before the war, he said. I thought maybe you were more than just soldiers. Gila felt her fingers tighten around the cup in her hands. She didn't know what to say. She wasn't proud of her people anymore. And yet she wasn't ready to give up on them either. But something was changing. This human, his strength, his honesty, his fire was different from what she'd been taught, different from the stories. She looked down at the hidden panel on her arm. Her broken device. She could try to fix it. Call for help. Return to her ship, her command, her old life. But a question burned in her mind like the flames in front of her. Would they come to rescue her or to silence her? As night fell outside, the cave grew quiet. Gila felt sleep pulling at her eyes. But before she closed them, she asked one final question. Why did you save me? Logan didn't look at her, just stared into the fire. Because I was saved once. Too, he said, voice barely above a whisper. And sometimes Hope is the only thing worth keeping alive. Gila waited until the humans slept. The fire crackled beside them, casting flickering shadows on the cave walls. Logan's breathing was slow, calm, the kind of peace only a man used to danger could have. She looked at him, lying near the fire with one hand resting on his chest and the other gripping a knife. Even in sleep, he didn't trust her fully. She didn't blame him. She didn't trust herself either. Quietly, she turned her body and rolled up the sleeve of her suit. Her fingers moved with care, pressing the small switch under her arm plate. A faint blue light blinked. The comm system wasn't fully repaired, but maybe, just maybe, she could reach someone. It hissed with static. Then a sharp voice cut through the silence. "This is Commander Varick's status update. Subject Gila, confirmed dead on Iceworld." Gila's heart stopped. Her own commander, her leader. The one she trusted with her life. Clean report filed, ship logs edited. The voice continued. "If anyone asks, she died in combat." Another voice responded. "Understood, no loose ends." Then silence. The comm went dark. Gila sat frozen. Not because of the cold, but because something inside her cracked. They had left her, lied about her, erased her. She was not a soldier anymore. She was a mistake. A problem they didn't want to deal with. She turned off the device, her hand shaking. The fire beside her still burned, giving heat, giving life. The human had done more for her than her own people. She stared into the flames, asking herself the question she never wanted to ask. Who was the real enemy now? The next morning, Logan woke early, as usual. He stepped outside without a word, his body moving like a machine built from habit and survival. Gila followed him, her legs stronger now. She stepped into the snow, eyes adjusting to the blinding light. Logan was digging something near the edge of a frozen cliff. Not a trap, not a tunnel. It was a grave. Inside it was a small black box, sealed and marked with alien letters. Sheila's language. She walked closer, her breath fogging in the air. "You found one of ours," she said softly. Logan didn't look up. "Cracked pod, landed months ago," he replied. "Pilot survived 2 days, then shot himself." Gila felt cold again, not from the wind, but from the truth. Her people were not heroes here. They were ghosts, running from their own shadows. "Why did you bury him?" she asked. Logan stood, wiping frost from his gloves. "Because even enemies deserve a grave," he said. They walked back to the cave together, silent but connected by invisible strings. That night, Logan showed her a map drawn on old paper. "This storm," he said, pointing to a red-marked area. "It's shifting south, opens a path to the ridge in 2 days. What's there?" she asked. "Old human outpost, signal flare, maybe still works." Gila looked at the map, then at him. "You want to leave this place?" Logan shook his head slowly. "I want to give you the choice," he said. "You can stay, or light the flare and wait for someone, maybe your people, maybe mine." Gila didn't answer, because the truth was she wasn't sure where she belonged anymore. She waited until Logan fell asleep again, then stared up at the dark cave ceiling. Her comm device was hidden beneath her pillow. But this time, she didn't touch it. This time, she didn't want answers. She wanted time to think, time to decide. Then boom, a loud noise echoed through the mountain. The ground shook, ice cracked. Birds flew from trees. Gila sat up instantly. Logan grabbed his rifle and rushed outside. She followed him, the cold wind hitting her face like a slap. In the sky far in the distance a ship was descending, sleek, fast, and marked with her people's flag. "They found me," she whispered. But Logan didn't smile, didn't relax. His eyes narrowed, too fast, too low. "Not a rescue," he said. Sheila looked at him, confused. "What do you mean?" He pointed to the ship's engines. Those are tactical burners military dropship. Sheila's face turned pale. She remembered the message. No loose ends. This wasn't a rescue. It was cleanup. They came to finish the job. She stepped back, panic rising. Logan turned to her with steady eyes. "You said you were left to die," he said. "Well, now you have a choice. Cliffhanger for part 4. Will Sheila warn Logan? Will she side with her people or stand with the human who gave her life again?" The snow burned under the ship's engines. Sheila stood frozen as the dropship landed with a deep, growling hum. Not rescue, not hope, but fire and silence. Logan didn't move. His eyes never left the ship. His rifle stayed lowered, but his grip tight, ready. Calm like a man who had faced death before. Sheila's breath shook in her chest. These were her people, her command, her uniform, but they had left her, lied about her, and now they were here, to erase her. The dropship door opened, steam hissing. Out like a hungry animal, 3 figures stepped down tall, armored. Sharp-faced soldiers with eyes hidden behind silver masks. One of them removed his helmet. "Sheila," he said, smiling like a snake in the sun. "We thought you were dead." Sheila said nothing. She could feel Logan watching from behind, silent, reading the situation Commander Varric sent us. The man continued. He was devastated to lose you. His voice dripped with poison, covered in honey. Sheila took a step forward, her hands shaking not from fear, but fury. "You lied," she said. "You left me, filed my death like I was nothing." The man raised a brow. "We followed protocol," he said coolly. "You were injured. Slowing the mission, we had no choice." Sheila looked back at Logan. He said nothing, but in his silence, she found her strength. She took another step forward. "No," she said. "You had a choice, and now so do I." The soldier's smile vanished. "You really going to stand with that human?" Logan finally spoke. "Careful," he said, voice flat. "This human has lived here alone for 5 years. I know every cave, every trap, every weak spot. But you don't want to test me." The soldiers laughed, but it was nervous, not real. "We just need Sheila," the lead said. "She's classified property of Fleet Command." Sheila stepped between them and Logan. "No," she said, "I'm done being your property." Then she pulled something from her pseudochip, small and cracked. She threw it on the snow. A flash of light came. Then a hologram appeared. Audio files played in the air, loud and clear. Commander Varric's voice. "Sheila is not a priority. Mark her as dead. Edit the logs. No loose ends." The soldiers froze, their silence louder than their guns. "You sent this message," Sheila said, "and now the truth is public." She had broadcasted it on wideband before they landed somewhere out in space. The fleet had heard it. She was not just a survivor now. She was evidence. The lead soldier's smile returned. But this time, nervous, tight. "You just made yourself a bigger problem," he said. "No ship will take you now." Sheila turned to Logan. "Then we build one," she said. The soldiers raised their weapons. Logan fired first. His shot hit the snow near their feet, causing a blast of steam. He pulled Sheila behind cover. Shots rang out loud, sharp, echoing through the ice cliffs. Sheila fired back with a plasma pistol. She'd hidden in her boot. The cave's entrance became a war zone. Snow turned black with smoke and heat. One of the soldiers went down. The other 2 fell back toward the ship, calling for backup. Logan and Sheila ran through the icy pass. Explosions behind them lit the sky. Inside a side tunnel, they caught their breath. Logan wiped blood from his arm. Sheila looked at him, her face pale but strong. "I didn't come here to fight humans," she said, "but now I fight for one." Logan gave a small nod. "Then we make a plan." He led her deeper into the tunnels, toward his hidden stash, a place filled with old tech, maps, and supplies. There, they began to work. Fixing an old transmitter, building a signal, not for help, but for truth. A broadcast that would tell the galaxy what really happened. Logan handed her a small device, a flare unit. Old, but still working. You light this, he said. They'll come. Who? She asked. Everyone, he said. Friends, enemies, watchers, liars. But if they know the truth, they'll have to choose. Gila looked at the flare, her hands steady. She had been a soldier, a follower, a ghost. Now, she would be a voice in a frozen world where heat was rare. She had found flame, and it wasn't from fire. It was from him, from the human who reminded her what it meant to fight for something real. The flare is lit, but the ones who answer may not be allies. New ships arrive, and not all of them are friendly. The flare rose into the sky like a red ghost. Its light burned through the storm clouds, climbing higher, higher, until it vanished into space. Gila lowered the launcher slowly, her heart pounding like thunder. It was done. The message was out. The lie was broken. And now, someone would come. Logan stood beside her in silence, his rifle resting on his shoulder. He had seen too many signals, too many promises. Some brought rescue, most brought death. The snow around them was quiet. Too quiet, but the silence did not. 3 hours later, the sky cracked, not with thunder, but with engines. 2 ships appeared above the horizon, dark shapes sliding through the clouds. One was old, patched, civilian class. The others sleek, armored, and fast. Gila felt her breath catch. They're early, she said. Logan didn't answer, because he knew. The real storm was just beginning. They ran back to the cave, preparing what they could: extra power cells, medical kits, hidden traps. Gila stared at the console inside, watching as the ships circled above. They're scanning us, she whispered. The civilian ship landed first, rough and slow, kicking up snow. The door opened with a creak, steam pouring out. A woman stepped down, human, dark-skinned, wearing scavenger gear, one eye replaced by a glowing lens. She raised both hands. No weapons, names. Raya. She shouted, "Got your message." Gila looked at Logan. He nodded once, then lowered his rifle. They walked out slowly, weapons ready but hidden. Raya smiled wide, showing gold teeth. "Didn't think anyone still lived out here," she said. "Guess I was wrong." Logan stayed silent. Gila stepped forward. "Why did you answer?" she asked. Raya pulled a small device from her belt, a datapad, playing the transmission. Gila's voice, "Commander Varick's betrayal. Because lies like that don't stay buried," Raya said. "Also, people pay good credits for truth." Gila narrowed her eyes. "You're here to help or profit?" Raya grinned. "Both, if I can," before anyone could speak again. The second ship landed. It made no noise, no warning, just a shadow falling from the sky. Gila stepped back. "That's a Black Echo unit," she said. "Elite enforcers. The kind sent to erase problems." The door slid open, and 6 armored figures walked out in perfect sync. No words, no pause, just cold silence and loaded weapons. One of them raised a hand, and a voice came from a speaker flat. "Inhuman. Subject, Gila. You are charged with treason against the fleet." Logan stepped forward, rifle raised. "She's under my protection," he said. "Try and take her, you'll pay for it." The lead enforcer raised a pulse cannon. "We do not negotiate with exiles." The voice replied. Raya cursed under her breath, pulled a blaster from her coat. "Looks like your signal brought more than attention," she said. "Brought a war." Gila looked at both ships, then at Logan. "We can't fight them head-on," she said. "We don't have to." Logan replied, "Just long enough to escape." Gila's fingers moved fast, unlocking Logan's old outpost systems, redirecting power to the ridge. She turned to Raya. "Can your ship fly?" "Barely," Raya said, "but I like a good chase." Shots rang out. The enforcers opened fire, beams of light cutting through the snow. Logan returned fire from the cave door, his aim fast and deadly. Gila sprinted toward the ridge, activating. The energy speak, a burst of light exploded into the air. Blinding the soldiers for a moment, Raya's ship lifted, side hatch open. Gila jumped first, Logan behind her, rolling as shots slammed into the hull. Raya hit the controls hard. "Hold tight," she yelled. "This bird doesn't like to fly, but she hates to die." The ship shook as they lifted into the sky, snow swirling below, enemies fading into the clouds. Inside, Gila sat on the floor, breath heavy. Logan leaned against the wall, bleeding from a shoulder wound. "You okay?" she asked. He smiled weakly. Better than yesterday. Gila looked out the window. Watching the ice world grow smaller, she had been abandoned there, thought her life ended there. But a human gave her heat and hope, and now she had a mission too. Show the galaxy what one human and one broken soldier could do together as they escape through deep space. A dark message from Gila's past returns, revealing someone close to her was part of the plan all along. The dream came before the pain. Gila stood beneath two suns, on her homeworld, green skies, warm wind. The sound of her mother's voice calling from the fields. "You were born for greatness," her mother said, smiling. "You will never be forgotten." But when Gila turned, her mother was gone. The skies turned gray, the warmth turned cold, and the wind whispered only one word: treason. She woke with a sharp gasp, her body drenched in sweat. The ship shook as it drifted through an asteroid field, not by accident and purpose. Raya was flying low and wild, trying to lose any trackers. Logan lay on the metal floor nearby, his shoulder wrapped, his face pale. Gila crawled to him, placing a hand on his chest, still breathing, still warm. He had nearly died to help her escape, and now he might still die because of her. Raya called from the cockpit. "We've got a signal," she shouted, encrypted and weird, "but it's coming. From someone looking for you." Gila stood, voice firm, put it through. The holoscreen blinked, and a face appeared, familiar, cold, and sharp. It was Aaron, her friend from training. Once like a brother, now wearing Fleet Command colors. Well, he said. "Didn't think you'd survive the ice?" Gila's heart twisted. "You knew," she said. "You were part of it." Aaron didn't blink. "I gave the order to leave you," he said. "You were asking too many questions, too soft, too curious. You forgot your place." Gila's hands clenched into fists. "You lied to me," she said. "All that time pretending to care." "I did care," Aaron said, "but duty first. And now I have new orders." His voice dropped colder. "You've made too much noise. Gila, the truth is dangerous, but we can still fix this by killing me." She asked. "No," Aaron said. "By bringing you in quietly, we'll say you were captured, brainwashed. You'll be a hero again." Gila looked at Logan, still unconscious. The man who had saved her. The man who had nothing to gain, no rank, no command, just humanity. She turned back to the screen. "I already am a hero," she said. "But not for your side." Aaron's face hardened. "Then you'll burn with the rest." The screen went black. Raya cursed under her breath. "That guy gives me chills." Gila sat beside Logan again, brushing frost from his hair. "He gave me fire when I had none," she whispered. "Now I'll return it." That night, they stopped the ship near a broken satellite, hiding in its shadow. Logan finally woke, weak but alert. "You still with me?" he asked. Sheila smiled. "Always." She showed him the data she copied before they escaped, the betrayal files. But now, something new was inside. Logs, voice notes, coordinates. proof that Aaron had been leaking human locations during the war, selling information to pirates. He hadn't betrayed just her, he had betrayed everyone. "This is enough," Logan said. "To break the command from the inside, but we have to reach someone who will listen," Gila replied. "And not everyone wants the truth," Logan sat up slowly, pain in his eyes. "We'll go to Station Ren," he said. "Old human post, now neutral space." "They still believe in honor there." Raya came in with a map projection. "That's a long shot," she said. "But I like long shots." Sheila looked at them, both human and scavenger, strangers who had become her allies. She stood and stared. Out the window, stars blinking across the black sea of space. "I was trained to serve the fleet," she said, "but now I serve something better." "What's that?" Raya asked. Gila smiled, eyes glowing in the dark. "Truth and the fire inside, *, the sky above Station Ren, was not blue or black. It was a silver storm, a shield of lights and broken signals, spinning in orbit like lost prayers." Gila watched it through the ship window, her hands pressed against the glass. This was where it would end, or begin again. Logan sat beside her, wrapped in bandages, quiet but awake. He looked tired, but stronger than ever. Raya brought the ship around the stations. "Outer ring, scanning for ports. You sure about this?" she asked. "This place is crawling with eyes. Some friendly, some not so much." Nada nodded, her voice steady. "We don't need all of them," she said. "Just one." One voice that still believes the truth matters. They docked at a hidden port used by ex-soldiers and traders. Gila stepped out first. Wearing her old uniform, cleaned, repaired, but no longer loyal, they walked into the station's lower levels, dark, crowded, humming with secrets. Then a voice spoke from the shadows. "Sheila," she turned, hand near her blaster. An old man stepped forward. Admiral Chiron Rhytid, forgotten by the fleet, but once her mentor. "I saw the signal," he said. "You've made quite the mess." Gila stepped closer, holding out the data chip. "This has everything," she said. "Betrayal, cover-ups, fleet war crimes, and the name behind it, all Commander Aaron." Chiron took the chip, his hands trembling. Slightly, he looked at Logan, then back at Gila and the human. He asked. "He saved me," she replied. "When everyone else left me to die." Chiron sighed, eyes heavy with old battles. "There are still good people left," he said, "but they're outnumbered." "Then we even the numbers," Logan said, stepping forward, before Chiron could speak again. The lights dimmed, the station shook. Warning sirens echoed through the halls. "They're here," Raya shouted, looking at her wrist display. "Aaron's ship just arrived. He's coming for the files." Chiron turned sharply, voice hard. "Follow me." "We're not giving them anything." They ran through the station, passing old war bets, rusted banners, forgotten glory. Chiron led them to a control room, sealed from the inside. "From here, I can broadcast the file to every major channel," he said, "but once I do, they'll know where we are." Gila looked at Logan, his hand found hers. Fingers warm even through the cold. "Do it," she said. "Even if we fall, the truth will stand." Chiron nodded and pressed the sequence. The message flashed across galaxies, to colonies, captains, commanders, and citizens. Every lie exposed, every name revealed, every shadow burned by light. But outside, the enemy was already here. Aaron stepped off his ship, soldiers behind him. His face calm, but his eyes full of fire. He stormed toward the control room. "This ends now," he growled. Inside, Gila stood ready. Her blaster charged. "If you want silence," she said, "you'll have to go through all of us." Aaron hesitated, just for a second, then gave the order. Blasters fired, metal shattered, sparks flew like fireflies in the dark. Logan fought beside Gila, every move protecting her, Raya hacked the systems, closing off exits, trapping soldiers. Chiron activated defense, bought sold, but still loyal. One by one, the enemy fell, until only Eren remained. Cornered and furious. "You were nothing," he shouted. "A broken soldier, a glitch in the system." Gyla stepped forward, eyes burning. "No." She said, "I was the spark," then silence after the smoke cleared. The station stood quiet. Later in the upper dome, under glass and stars, Gyla stood at the edge. Watching the lights of distant worlds, Logan came beside her. His arm now healed, his voice soft. "You could go home now," he said. "They'd call you a hero." Gyla shook her head. "Home is just a word," she said. "You showed me something better." He smiled. "Hope." She nodded. "And fire. Not the kind that destroys, but the kind that saves." Together. They boarded Raya's ship, setting a course not for safety, but for purpose, to help those still forgotten, still abandoned, still waiting for someone to fight for them as the ship rose into the stars. Gyla spoke one last line, her voice steady, "In the coldest place, I found the warmest soul, and I will carry that fire forever."